All right, it says we're live. I keep meaning to create a countdown thing because YouTube is slow with the catch up lately, but I've been forgetting. So I need to get on that so that I don't have to, introduce. I'm like introducing the webcast by babbling about like how YouTube is slow. Okay, so hello, I am Tara Lynn of A Geek Saga Entertainment, and welcome to episode 2 of my 2001 Walt Disney World College Program 20-year reunion series. This episode is all about arriving in Orlando for our college programs, checking in, getting our apartment and work assignments, training experiences, and more. Today, I am joined once again by Brian, who was here for episode 1, and also by Kim, who was one of my roommates on my 2001 college program. So, Brian, you want to remind us real quick where people can find you, and then when Brian's done, Kim, you can introduce yourself and we'll get right into things. Oh, can't hear Brian.
Kim, would you like to go first?
Oh, yeah. No. You go ahead and go first.
Can't hear me at all?
Now I can. Can you hear me? We tested this beforehand. Everything was working.
Okay. Yes. No, I can hear you. Totally can. No, it was working. So I'm Brian Mathis. You can find me on Instagram as Brian of Cannabis or on Facebook as Brian Mathis. Pretty straightforward and easy.
All right, Kim.
Kim Wojciechuk, formerly Galant, when I was on the program. I don't
Did
really
that come
use...
through?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. Instagram, I am at Kimba1382. It's mostly random stuff. I worked in the 2001 college program, obviously. I don't know how much you want me to get into. And I, like Tara said, we were roommates back on the program.
Yeah, and I'm just posting a message in our private chat real quick. Because Brian, I think there's a big lag for you right now. So I just want to see if you can like play with your internet connection or check on it or something. Otherwise, we can just be very careful, in terms of when one of us is speaking so that we're not like talking over each other. But anyway, okay, so now that we have introduced everybody, as I already mentioned, I'm Tara. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at A Geek Saga, and on the web at ageeksaga.com. So we're going to jump right into things and talk about how we made our way down to Disney. And I guess I'll just start and get it out of the way so you guys have an idea of kind of what I'm going for here. But when this is, back in 2001, I was very young. It's okay. Also, if you guys, if something's happening in the background, you can mute yourselves with the little mute button at the bottom. I've had to do it before when my dogs have a conniption on these things. So anyway, I was very young when I did my college program. I was 18 when it started. So my parents didn't want me to drive to Florida, even with a friend. But I did want to have a car there. So my family flew down with me and my grandparents drove my car down for me. It's crazy to look back now and remember my parents not wanting me to drive like from Connecticut to Florida when I have now moved myself up and down the East Coast, often alone, upwards of half a dozen times, and more recently drove across nearly the entire country from South Carolina to California. But again, at 18 years old, I was still pretty sheltered. And in the end, it was really nice being able to have a family vacation to Disney for the few days leading up to my check-in date, which was August 20th. And also because I flew, I had friends come to the airport to see me off. I mean, they were able to go through security and be at my gate to say goodbye to me because this was pre-September 11th. So also just so weird to think about this as a thing that they actually used to just allow to happen. It wasn't parents seeing a child off. It was adult friends seeing an adult friend off at the gate in the airport. So that's how old I am. That's how long ago this college program was. And then, yeah, like I said, we got to have like a few days at Disney together, my family and I. And then I also met one of my friends from online who was checking in for her college program a couple days after I was. Her name is Allie, and she was there for probably a week or more before her college program. So we met up at the boardwalk and hung out a bit. So I actually got to meet at least one person in person who I'd known online for a bit, before the program. And I remember my parents being like, "Are you sure you should go meet this person? Like, you've only talked to her online. This is really weird." And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. We're at Disney. We're in public. What could possibly happen?" You know what I mean? So I got to have a little bit of last minute fun with my family and friends before my college program actually started. Oh my gosh, very loud. There we go. That got rid of a ton of background noise. I muted Brian. Brian, I'll unmute you in a minute. This is going to be real fun to edit for the podcast version, let me tell you. So Kim, did you get down there early for the program? I'm sure, I know we talked about this when we checked in, but I don't remember.
So I drove down probably a couple days before. So I come from, those that don't know me, I came from north of Boston. So my parents allowed me to take one of their cars. I had a friend drive down with me. We split it up into a couple days, stopped in Virginia, stayed over for the night. And then on the way down to Florida, I have an aunt that lives in the Daytona area. So I went and surprised her real quick. And then my grandmother lived in Vero Beach at the time. So I went and stayed with her for a day. And we were supposed to stay for like 2 days. I was so anxious and wanting to get down there that we left a day early and just spent a night in Orlando. So I was really only there for like maybe the night prior to getting into Orlando. So my friend Kim had just completed the program. So she came down with me and was there for my check-in and all that.
Oh yeah, I remember Kim. So was she there at Vista with you when you checked in?
She was, yeah. I think she had just gone to see some friends, or she was with me. It was kind of like one of those, all right, we had just spent like 3-4 days together. Like we were kind of sick of each other at that point.
Especially if you drove together, honestly.
Yeah.
So what about you? What about you, Brian? How did you, I know you started way earlier than we did, your spring advantage, but like, how did you end up in Florida? Like, were you there early? Did you drive?
I flew in a day early and was supposed to stay, and they let me into Vista Way. And it was in between. There was no one there. It was an absolute ghost town. I was in an apartment all by myself. It was a little surreal because I was in one of those apartments by myself. I remember getting there a little early in the day and then taking the shuttle from the Sanford airport, not the Orlando airport. I took it from the small airport to Vista. And I remember having some trouble getting in because I wasn't on anything. They had to call someone because I was supposed to be staying at Chatham. And then the first person I met was right after I got in there because there was nothing to do. So I just went to the pool and it happened to be one other person early. So I got in a day early before check-in.
Oh, wow. I feel like that's probably something they don't really allow these days. But I guess what do I know? It's changed so much.
It was literally 2000.
Yeah, I mean, when I checked in, it was obviously day of, like I said, it was August 20th. And I remember leading up to the college program, you didn't know until, well, honestly, if you weren't online, kind of keeping an eye on the message boards and stuff, you had no idea what apartment complex you were going to be in. All I knew is that I was dying to be in Vista, like dying. I didn't care that Chatham was newer. Vista had the party reputation and I was ready for it. And so I did actually know a little bit ahead of time, like maybe a week or so, because they didn't have check-in dates in like, June or July, but then they started having them in maybe early-ish or closer to mid-August. And once they started having people check in again, then it was like people were getting online and saying, okay, I checked in on this day, Monday, and I got into Vista. Okay, I checked in on Wednesday and I got into Chatham. And I'm like, yes, I'm a Monday check-in. It's got to be Vista.
Yeah.
So I was excited, and I was like, okay, I know that could change before I go down there, but it seemed pretty sure that I was going to get into Vista. So I was really excited when I got there, and all my Vista dreams came true. And I think so we all want Vista. Like we all wanted Vista.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. Cornfields of Illinois to to Disney World. I wanted Vista so bad. I was so excited that when I got there early, that's where they put me temporarily. My heart sank the next day when I went to check in, and it was actually Chatham.
Oh no!
I was one of the very first people to stay at Chatham, and it was new.
Yes.
And I was so disappointed.
And the thing is, like, it's like, it's still the same people, it's still all the people going down to the college program for whatever reason, whether they wanted to be there to party or not. Like, so there's no reason, even though Chatham was newer, it didn't have the old school like reputation that Vista did, but there was no reason for it to, like, it could have turned out just like Vista, but it never did. I don't think. Have.
It never did. It's similar to the dollar. It's just the imagination that keeps it afloat. Like the imagination of Vista. It's the legend of Vista, right? That preceded it. That we, that environment that we had in our head, the image and the feelings that I was looking for and experience. Because it had been all over the message boards and in magazines. Chatham was not Vista. It wasn't in magazines.
Well, and two, like they always said like, you're probably the people you wait in line around, like the people right around you in line are most likely going to be your roommates. Like obviously the guys of guys, girls with girls back then. But like, I chose, did you have a 3-bedroom, Brian?
I did have a 3-bedroom. Okay. I perfectly chose. I wanted more roommates.
Yeah, see, I wanted less, but there's so fewer like 2-bedroom apartments. So like Kim was in our apartment before I was in our apartment, not by much, but like I don't remember what time. I got there super early in the morning, but because there were not that many people choosing the slightly more expensive and also less people 2-bedrooms. I didn't see any of my roommates in line. I did meet Becky, who was in our live chat for a bit for the last one. She was somebody I'd known from online, so I did meet her in line. I can't remember, she was right in front or right behind me, but we like recognized each other, and so that was really neat. But yeah, I did not meet my roommates until I actually like was in my apartment. But I don't know, Kim, do you remember like what time you got there or anything, or how long you waited in line? Like, I feel like it might've been a long time that I waited in line, but now that I look back, I'm thinking, it couldn't have been that long, right? Like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah. I don't remember when I get there. I remember walking up the stairs to the apartment and you were talking and go, you're Equataricans. Like I remembered you from all the boards and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, what apartment are you going to? And that was like the aha moment. Like I just remember walking up the stairs and be like, okay, great. And I think that just then and there we decided, our lives were so parallel from New England. We were the same age. We're like, all right, let's just be, physical roommates. Like we'll share the room.
Yeah. And I think you were, somehow their Blink 182 came up, like maybe like one of us like put it on the radio, or it was like already playing on the radio, like when like you might have been in the room setting stuff up already and like you were playing music, and like I feel like, because I remember there being a Blink 182 thing like immediately, and I was like, oh, I like Blink 182.
I was obsessed.
I know, right? And like it was just one of those like, okay, yeah, like you said, this person is my age. We're both from New England. We both like Blink 182, which is clearly just that says so much about someone's personality. But also you had already claimed the front bedroom, which was the one with the private bathroom, and there was no one else there, and I was like, yeah, so like, are you okay if I like room with you, because I kind of want this private bathroom too. And I mean I don't know, Brian, like you, because it was the same way in the 3 bedrooms. There's a front room with a private bathroom, and then the other two share a bathroom, and it's
the other two share a bathroom. Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's either one other person or everybody. But similar to your experience, I'd met a couple of people online in the groups back in the day, and one of them ended up being in line checking in with me. I remember he was his religion and what he looked like, and he was standing behind me, and he ended up being one of my roommates. And so it did ring true, and the guy in front of me ended up being my other roommates. So definitely for the very first program I checked into, it was back then who you're standing in line with. They just assigned the males to the males, like you were saying. It's consequently, yeah.
Well, I mean, and the other thing was like there were so many 3-bedroom apartments. Like the vast majority of the apartments were 3-bedroom. There were, I think at Chatham they had 1-bedrooms, but there were very, very few of them, and they were even more expensitive. And at $6 an hour, at $6
they had the
an hour,
4 bedrooms too.
I'll say 4.
Yeah.
They had
so
the 4 bedrooms at Chatham. A lot of 4 bedrooms at Chatham as well.
Yeah. So I feel like, just if you wanted a 3-bedroom apartment. And and the other thing was whether you wanted wellness or not wellness, which is such a weird term for it.
I completely forgot about wellness and non-wellness until you just said that.
Yeah.
The wellness was non-smoking, non-drinking.
Yeah, and back then, even if you were under 21, they would let you choose, and they stopped allowing that. I don't remember when it was a while though. It was I definitely wanted a non-wellness because I was like, I'm not living in a dry apartment where my 21-year-old roommates don't even want to have alcohol around. But they stopped allowing people under 21 to choose non-wellness. I want to say it was several years, but it wasn't that long. It could have been 2004, but it might have been as late as 2005 or 2006. So yeah, they did eventually, stop allowing that. Also, we have got a fourth person here. Hold on a second.
I can't pinpoint a date, but I specifically remember being there when they did that.
Oh, then it might have been 2004. Because I remember you were there.
I was there when it happened.
You mean our group?
I might have been at the. We might have been at fault.
I was gonna say our group didn't ruin it for everyone.
Oh shit! You're right. You're right. They might have come to think of it.
Yeah,
they might have.
The second time I went back, you weren't allowed to walk around with alcohol anymore. When we were there, the first one in 2001, you could walk around with they cut it right after 2001. That program, there's a lot of rules that went into effect.
Well, on that note, we've got Becky in the waiting room, so I'm going to bring her in because she's also saying it was probably ours, and I agree. Hey, Becky. Can you hear all of us?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, you want to introduce yourself real quick? I know you're coming in a little bit late, but just your name, if you have any online handles you want people to follow, anything like that.
My name is Becky Cannon and Maxwell, sort of right now. I'm trying to think. I do have Facebook. It's under Becky Cannon, I think, or Becky Maxwell. I'll send it somewhere. I don't think I have anything else really.
Well, where did you? Since we already kind of went through check-in and everything. I know you checked in obviously on August 20th because you were with us and you stayed at Vista. Do you remember anything specific about your check-in experience that year? Because we're all kind of vague. Well, I think Brian remembers way more than the rest of us. Kim and I are pretty vague about it.
I know I got there really early and you were behind me. We don't know how we even knew each other. I just happened to see a picture of you and I was like, that looks familiar. So we were back behind each other, and I remember you wanted a non-wellness because your dad said, "Why do you want a non-wellness apartment?"
I can't believe you remember my dad saying that, but I absolutely believe you because that is absolutely something he would have said. And probably at the time I was just like, I don't know, Dad, because like I want a room with fun people. I don't even know if I made an excuse for it.
I had a wellness apartment, and then I had a 21-year-old in there who brought in the alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, at least it was allowed, I guess. Or no, it wasn't allowed. Wait,
No,
you weren't supposed to have any alcohol.
Mm-mm. And then we had those surprise inspections.
Did they wait? So did they actually do surprise inspections on non-wellness apartments? Okay, I didn't know.
Because I was in the top room. I was on the top floor of my apartment, and I heard them knocking. I heard a knock on the door right across from us, and I'm like, "What is that?" I opened my door, and I knew it was them, and I had to go hide everything.
Oh my God.
And I hid it behind cereal boxes. And they didn't look. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because I could have been fired and then I would never been back.
I mean, would it have been your fault, though? Like, how could they possibly...
I think they fired everybody.
Wow.
They didn't know who it was. They fired everybody in the apartment. So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, no.
Maybe, I mean, honestly, if I had needed an excuse to tell my dad as to why I didn't want to be in a wellness apartment, that's like a perfect reason. Like, yeah, if somebody brings alcohol in, even if they're over 21 and like we get caught, like then we all get fired. Like, and how is that my fault? Whatever. That's so very Disney of them.
And they're supposed to, you could put anything in your locker, but I remember someone they went into their locker and they terminated them.
Yep.
Yeah. So and I guess other than like checking in and everything, so obviously, you know, you meet your roommates pretty soon. Like I said, I'd chosen a 2-bedroom apartment, so I only had. You see, I think I was the second. Kim was there like right before me. But for me, we had 3 other roommates, well, I had 3 other roommates. Kim and I had 2 other roommates. Haha. I did meet, one of them was someone I had met online. I'm not going to say that person's name because like we had some problems later as roommates. But I had met her online, you know, prior to the college program. She'd actually been one of the people who had been like, you should really start a web page about this. And like, she was so nice online, and she was even very nice when we first met, but the roommate situation, not so much fun as it went on. But like, I also just remember meeting so many dudes, like so many dudes. Like there were, of course, you know, there's in your apartment, it's only guys or only girls back then. But there were guys right across from us. And one of them was from Connecticut. There was a kid named Fino from North Carolina who I became pretty good friends with, but then he left, I think, after 9/11, unfortunately. And there was a guy named Brian, maybe. And there was a 4th one who I don't remember at all. Like, but I have no idea how I met just so many guys. Like immediately, it was like every person other than my roommates that and like Becky and Line, like every person that I was meeting was a dude. And I don't think there definitely weren't more guys there than there were girls. And I was in such an awkward stage at that point in my life. But maybe I was, and I was also still kind of shy. Like Disney is actually a big part of what made me not shy anymore. But at the time, check-in time, I definitely was, but maybe I was thinking, you know, I probably won't see these people ever again after this. So like, I didn't really care what they thought of me. And I was just like, hey, I'm Tara. Let's be friends. Like, I don't know. So I don't know. Like, I know Kim probably has similar like memories to me of just meeting so many guys because we were together like constantly at first.
I could say from being one of those guys that we went around as the welcoming committee, and we would go around to the different apartments and just introduce ourselves and make sure that you had everything you needed and didn't need I don't know, cookies or something. So cookies. I mean, cookies. Yeah. So
somehow we had guys in ours too, but they were really good. They were our good friends right across from us, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that might have been, it was not always exact, but I feel like it was often like each floor was like at least, it was usually 2 and 2. Sometimes it was maybe 3 apartments of girls and one of guys, maybe. But from what I recall, just like meeting other people, going to their apartments and stuff, it was always like, yeah, my neighbors are guys or my neighbors are girls, like depending. So it's like they did really try to mix it up. So even though you're in an apartment with people of the same gender, whatever, back in the day. And speaking of which, yay, Disney, they finally started acknowledging like non-binary. And even for the college program, you can like choose to, you don't have to just be stuck in an apartment with other people who are the same, sex as you or whatever. So yay, finally. But yeah, like at the time it was, it was 2001. It was 20 fucking years ago, man. Like it was what it was. And honestly, like I'm not really, we were having sleepovers with our neighbors like almost immediately. It was just like, oh, I don't feel like being alone tonight. I just feel like cuddling a little bit, like for real, like nothing happening. Like I was like really close friends with one of the guys across the hall, and we would just kind of have like sleepovers together, which wasn't a first for me, but it was definitely the first time I didn't have to worry about my parents knowing about it.
Yeah. I had one that had their boyfriend on the program, so he stayed over all the time.
Oh yeah.
So
That could get problematic. I didn't really have big issues with it on my first college program, but on my second college program, we didn't have issues with guys staying in our apartment. We had issues with one of our roommates hogging the phone 24/7 to call her boyfriend back home. I mean, like 24/7. It's like, I need to get online to like submit something for school.
Well, you have to preface that because I mean it's 20 years ago, so there was only one phone in the entire house, and we didn't have cell phones.
And the internet was dial-up. No, it wasn't. Was it?
It was cable. It was cable modem.
No, it was cable. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I remember being cable. The porn coming through was great, so it was definitely it was definitely cable modem. I had a problem with that when I got moved from Chatham to Vista fairly quickly. Worked out a way, and had a roommate who got a girlfriend really quick, and that definitely presented its own audio issues nightly.
Like I wouldn't even be worried about the audio issues. It's more just about like, I kind of want to, if I had a long ass day at work or whatever, like I don't want to come home and like have some random guy I don't know like in my bedroom like every single night, which honestly is not an issue I ever had in my immediate bedroom. But like on my second program, one of our roommates, actually, it was me and one other girl from the US and 4 girls from Puerto Rico. And one of them had a boyfriend, and he was at our house, at our apartment every single night. I mean, every single night. And the excuse was like, his roommates are awful and they treat him like crap and everything like that. And it's like, and they won't let her over there. And I'm like, I don't really care. I'm really tired of coming home to messes from your boyfriend. But yeah, I just, like I said, I just remember meeting so many dudes. And it was, as somebody who went to a really small high school and then went to a very small all-girls college my first year of school, which I think, did you go to an all-girls college too, Kim?
Yeah, my first semester, I was at a private all-female school in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my children are in the room, but I spent a lot of time down the street at Wentworth, which had plenty of guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I didn't really even have that. I didn't really have that at school, but yeah, going down to Disney and just being like the world opens up for you, you know? It's a dog barking. Hey, it's your dog's, not mine this time. I mean, other than, I don't know, like, do you guys have any like really interesting stories about meeting people like right away? I know that I met this girl that I worked with in Adventure in Liberty Square, Jamie, who will probably watch this at some point. She and I, she was at Chatham, but she would come like hang out at the Vista pool, and I met this guy Adam. I think when I was at the pool with her, and like he and I, you know, became friends and stuff after that. But I don't know that I have. It's like I remember meeting so many people, but other than the guys that lived across the hall from us, I don't. And even that it wasn't super like meet cute type stories. Like Brian said, it was like people would just go around and introduce themselves. And you would leave your door propped open because you're not paying for the AC or anything. So you would like leave your door propped open, and it was just kind of like an obvious like, hi, we're welcome. You know, we're a welcoming place to strangers. Like this doesn't, and none of this seems safe now that I think about it. I guess if you assume that everybody's working at Disney, so like they all must be like chill, but there were no background checks or anything, I don't believe.
They vetted.
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
They
Okay.
vetted.
Okay.
I
They
think
did.
vetted.
I
don't
have
remember
one of the
that.
forms I have, I think, is like a background, like you had to sign a background check. I was
It's
just
a
looking
background
at it.
and a personality check. I remember they vetted us good.
I love that you have I still have the folders too. I just don't. They're packed away in
They were
like a
in my
file.
basement.
Oh yeah, they are packed away in a filing thing, like in South Carolina. So I don't have
Yep.
them here in California with me. But I went through a crap ton of boxes and whatnot a couple of years ago when I moved in South Carolina, and I got rid of a ton of shit, but I did not get rid of any of that stuff. Like I still have all of the stuff from checking into my college program. I was like, I can't get rid of this yet.
Yeah.
Like maybe someday, but somehow 17 years later, I'm still not ready.
Yeah.
And at 20 years now, I still wouldn't be ready.
No, there's like a few boxes that I have down there. I just remember like seeing them because I've moved twice in the past year and a half. So I was like, I have stuff that went here, stuff went there. And I just remember like found those the other day and some of my other stuff. I'm like, I'm never getting rid of those. Like,
Yeah.
they're just, and I just remembered where they are. I'm like, oh, I remember seeing that stuff.
So before we move on past like meeting people, Brian, did you have any like meet cute type stories, or was it mostly just like wandering around meeting people you don't really remember?
So I mean, the first one is what got the name started. Was that my roommates ended up having very similar names to me. One was Ryan Smith, I believe, Brian Smith, and the other one was Ryan Matthews, and I'm Brian Mathis. And we ended up having an issue with our schedules. We were getting phone calls, and the people from he was at Magic Kingdom and I was at the studios, and we ended up talking to the wrong people and almost working the wrong schedule. So when they started calling, we had to designate each other by, good old American terms. Hence he was white Brian and I was black Brian. And we also had a Jewish person and he was Ryan. And so he was the Jewish Ryan. So when you called, that was our designation. So that's again, this doesn't age well.
No.
It doesn't age well at all. But in 2001, it was how we got started, because there was no other way to distinguish us, because even the names phonetically were so similar. Ryan Matthews and Brian Mathis are so right, par on par. That was my first, like, I want to say, identity changing moment at Vista. I definitely went through a couple of them, but that was one of my cute first meeting stories. The day before that, I did meet a friend who I still talk to her to this day. She came back and visited a couple of times. There was always a awesome platonic relationship. Her name was Amber. She was amazing. We used to go out dancing, but I met her at the pool because she got there a day early as well. Funny enough, she ended up living in Vista, and I was in Chatham, but met her at the pool just randomly. I was just walking through. She was the only one there because I got to the apartment early, and we ended up hanging out that day, hanging out the next day. She only did the first half of the program, was where I did the Advantage and stayed a couple months, I believe, but ended up still actually just was talking to her a couple days ago. And she's been a close, just confident, I couldn't say confident, but just a close friend ever since.
What about you, Becky? Did you have any like fun like meeting stories, like other than us meeting in line or whatever? Like anybody that you met that just really like sticks out in your mind?
I still have one girl I actually have on my Facebook, and we talk every now and then. And then near the end of the program, I actually met a guy who lived in the town next to me, and he had family lived in my hometown, and we're like best friends now. But other than that, not really, because I kept to myself. My job kept me away from almost everybody.
Oh
So,
yeah, we'll get into that.
So it's horrible.
Yeah. I remember that, and you were one of very few college program people I knew that was in housekeeping. It wasn't really a common place that they put people.
There was 4 in my place.
But okay, so on that note, I mean, we might as well jump into getting like our work assignments and all that fun stuff. So my stuff was kind of delayed, so I'll let somebody else go first. Kim, do you want to talk about your like work stuff first? Because you jumped right into work, and I remember I like got stuck having to wait several days for something, and I don't know why. I don't remember why.
Mm-hmm. So you want me to start like where I was working, what I did?
Like, I don't know, like, because yeah, finding out where you worked, like going through like traditions and like the Magic Kingdom training and all that.
So I ended up getting operations attractions. I was in Fantasyland back then. I think it was West. I don't remember anymore. So it was Dumbo ride. It was back then. It was still Snow White. It was the Pooh ride, the teacups. That was my little area. And then so I remember going. One of them I woke up late for. There was one of the days at like the Disney University or something, and I woke up late for. I was like, "Oh, this is it. I'm done already." But yeah, I remember, you had to dress in the Disney dress, and you went and sat in classroom for a day. And then I think like the second day I was late is that you went to the kingdom and you walked around and they showed you the tunnels and everything. And then introduced you to like, where you get your uniform or your costume, whatever you want to call it. And all that. And then shortly after that is like when you started actually training on the job.
And Brian, you had a way more interesting job than the rest of us because you were a vacation planner or something like that.
Yeah, so I was a roll hopper. And at first I got assigned to Tower of Terror. So my very first assignment right out the gate was I didn't have to be nice to anyone. It was all part of the show. This is the magic. I don't have to smile. I'm going to be creepy. It was great. I really hammed it up with I was coming from a theater background, former theater major at the University of Illinois. So I was hamming it up. And then halfway through it, they go, okay, well, you're going to switch now. You're going to do the hop. I'm like, cool, where to get the hop to? They're like, vacation planning. I'm like, cool, what's that? And they're like, they're like, you sell tickets. I'm like, but it's such a big name. They put you through some insane training because you're supposed to know a little bit about everything because you're selling tickets to it. Yeah, we sell tickets to the park, but if you wanted Cirque tickets or you want to do park hop or you want to go, I could book resort stays too. Didn't really do it, but you were trained to do it. So that was really fun because that training, they gave you tickets to everything.
Yes, I know.
Got to try.
I dated a vacation planner. I remember that.
Oh yes, I forget.
Yeah, we're just gonna make vague references to that situation.
Yeah, we're gonna keep glazing over that. But as a vacation planner, it was a very cushy position compared to even the ops or the attractions. Attractions I thought was pretty cushion. I'm not even joking. But the vacation planning, I mean, you were in a booth with a shirt and tie, air conditioned. It was a set schedule, Monday through. You had your 4 or 5 days because the people that were there were cemented. They had that tenure. They weren't going anywhere. Their schedules did not fluctuate in any way, shape, or form. It was set. I was one of only a few of the college programs who actually got selected for it. There was only me and one other girl in my position in studios. And there were only 4 other people at TTC at the time because we trained with them. So we were experimental at the time. We were some of the first to do that. So that was a very cushiony job. It was, I was very, very fortunate to land that position. And then it was in such high demand that they would come and pull me from the Tower of Terror if someone called in. And I would hear over the radio, "Hey, you got to send Mathis over to the front of the studios because they're short." And it was like they would grab me, and on some days I would even say, "Hey, if you guys need me, pull me from the tower." And they would pull me from the tower to put me back over vacation planning. It was awesome. That was definitely a cushy job, and that's what I kept going to. So when you met me on the second half of that, that's what I was transitioning to and stayed. Yeah, I stayed there. Oh my God, I would not go back. Are you kidding me? It was amazing.
So just out of curiosity, when you first started as a roll hopper, did you only do the Tower of Terror and or did you only do the Hollywood Studios, like On With the Show and the Tower of Terror training, or did they put you through more training immediately because they weren't sure?
They weren't. I don't even think they were sure what I was supposed to be doing, because when I went in as a roll hopper, they didn't have. When I first went in, they just said roll hopper. We're going to tell you the next day, and that's when the issue happened with my roommate, where we had to distinguish between us being, being black or white, because I almost worked his shift over at the Magic Kingdom because I ended up talking to his manager on the phone, because when they called, they thought they wanted this Mathis, but they wanted Matthews, right? It was just confusing. So I only did, to answer your original question, I only did Tower of Terror and On With the Show. And then I was also trained for Phantasmic, for crowd control.
Yeah.
Which I didn't start doing actually until towards the end of the spring, and they switched me over to the roll hopper position. So I ended up with the 3 spots, if you will. But I didn't do the training until second half of the first program.
So Becky, what about you? Like, I know, like you said, you were housekeeping. So I also kind of got shoved into a weird, there aren't many college program people job, but you kind of got the short end of the stick, I think, here. Did you have to go, were you at one specific resort?
I was at Caribbean Beach.
Okay.
So
I think I remember that.
There. Yeah, because you're at Pirates and I was at Caribbean. So we made fun of it. And it was horrible. I'm just gonna say that. We had our week of training with our other housekeeper, and they're old, so they've been there forever and a day. And we would go on. Our specific thing said you only go on lunch if you think you can get done on time. So 90% of the time I was there, I never had lunch. My trainer actually had, out of 16 rooms, she had like 12 of them done before lunch. I was lucky if I had 3 done before lunch, because I was like a very big perfectionist. Yeah, it was horrible. You really didn't get the only time you could get out of housekeeping if you have a severe allergic reaction to the cleaning stuff. And other than that, you were stuck by yourself all day long.
Honestly,
talk to nothing.
I was just gonna say, honestly, like this, even the severe allergic reaction thing, I guess with housekeeping, that's a way to get out. But we had, when I was a manager, a restaurant manager years later, we had a college program employee who had very bad allergic reactions to our cleaning products. And they were like, yeah, sorry, you're still stuck in foods. And they scheduled him, and it's such a way that he didn't have to deal too closely with the cleaning products. Like he couldn't bust tables and stuff like that. But they were like, yeah, this doesn't get you out of foods. We just won't put you in these like 2 positions or whatever. So, yeah. Oh, we lost Kim. But yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. And did you work like crazy hours?
8 to 4:30, and you couldn't have overtime unless you asked for it. So if you weren't done by 4:30 and you stayed over, yeah, you didn't get paid for that.
How's that? Like that and the lunch thing, I'm really curious about. Because like, how is that even legal? Like,
I don't know. It was 2001, and they could do whatever they wanted to. So it was bad. And we got tips, but it's still not worth it in the long run. It's like, don't go into housekeeping. So I had this.
I mean, because we weren't, obviously any other position you weren't allowed unless you were a server, which I don't know. I don't know any college program people who were servers.
Server They did servers, but they didn't start it until like 2004, and it was all there
Yeah.
for I think a year.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember anybody who was like a server when I was
They weren't.
like on our
I specifically asked.
Oh yeah, you were a server later at places. I know that.
And I was before I worked there as well.
Oh, okay.
Just not for Disney.
Well, okay. So on that note, I'll go into my little shtick. So yeah, I don't remember exactly why there. I think there was some issue with paperwork or something, and it wasn't even my fault. It was like they lost my paperwork, and they admitted, oh, sorry. So you get to start like 3 or 4 days later. So when I went to traditions and everything, I was actually with all the people that checked in on August 22nd instead of August 20th, which wasn't a big deal, except for the fact that that was like extra days that I didn't get paid for, of course, or didn't make money for. So, that sucked a little bit. And also just being the one person out of all my friends that, they were all working and I was kind of like, I could still have fun, but I don't really have, I think that's how I ended up at the pool with no, I didn't know Jamie yet. But anyway, so I was originally supposed to be at Big Thunder Mountain. I was attractions as well, at Magic Kingdom, and I was originally supposed to be Big Thunder Mountain, but it is Jamie's fault, and I say fault with quotes because I ended up working at Pirates and I loved Pirates, but Jamie was supposed to work at Pirates. Something happened and she couldn't work there, so they moved her to Jungle Cruise. And it wasn't, anything she did wrong or whatever. It was just they had to move her to Jungle Cruise. So like last minute, there was this big shuffle. Because they only had slotted 2 college program participants for Pirates that fall, and Jamie was one of them. So when she couldn't do that and they had to move her to Jungle, it was like, oh crap, we got to pull somebody. Well, where are we going to pull them from? Let's pull one of the 8 billion, hyperbole, obviously. Let's pull one of the, however many crazy number of people that are college program at Big Thunder. So that's how I ended up at Pirates. And I do remember like the Once Upon a Time is Now, whatever the training at Magic Kingdom. The only thing I really remember about it, other than getting to there's like the separate like attractions thing at the end, and we were in this room backstage at in Adventureland, and I was expecting to be put at Big Thunder Mountain, and they were like, Tara, Pirates, and I was like, wait, what? Okay. But I do remember at the Once Upon a Time training, like because we were there before park opened, you got to see the park with the streets just washed clean and there's not a single person there. And I have like one picture from my shitty camera at the time. It was probably a disposable camera too, honestly.
Disposable camera.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's like, so it's a crappy ass picture, but it's like the street, Main Street leading up to the castle, just washed perfectly clean. And there's like one custodial worker in it. And I was like, this one custodial guy is just in my way. But it was still really cool to be able to see Magic Kingdom, that early in the morning with no people there. But yeah, I attractions training, as I'm sure Brian and Kim can attest, was really freaking thorough. We had, I think, more days of training than most any other role. Except for maybe like vacation planner or whatever, but it was a full week of training because that was what was required by law, I believe. And so, yeah, it was a full week of getting up and being at work at 7 a.m. and having to learn, except for one day when I learned to close the ride, which is hilarious that they spent all this time training me to open the ride. And then I think I opened the ride once on my entire college program. I spent one day training to close it and closed it almost every single night that I worked. But yeah, it was a real like interesting training experience. I mean, I had to actually study because I had to pass like written and like in-person tests on all these really, some of it was pretty freaking technical too. And Pirates is not a super dangerous, like I can't imagine people who train for the roller coasters, even Big Thunder, honestly. It's got to be so much more intense. Because Pirates, you don't even have lap belts or anything. Oh yeah, because you did Tower, so like
Tower. Yeah, Tower was definitely intense, and they were extremely thorough. I remember the walkthroughs. I think the most that I remember, The thing I remember the most about training was from traditions when they sat you in that room and they handed out those little papers and they said, hey, walk around and try to answer all these, and whoever answers all these questions gets a prize. And they said, use everything in the room, and what they were meaning to say was, you can come up and ask us later. It was a lesson in make sure we used all of our resources. And I take that with me all the time. Like, that was one of my biggest lessons that I took from Disney was, hey, don't forget to ask your cast members if you can't remember something, right? We all need to lean on each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken that lesson with me to every single job. So one of the things I definitely think Disney, as far as being thorough, not only creating the magic, but like pulling it, the magic through the teamwork, like that was huge to me, and that lesson has stuck with me. Even over. Would you please stop that? Please. Sorry.
I was wondering. I was like, I didn't want to mute you because you were talking.
This is my youngest. I apologize.
Oh my God!
Thank
so
you.
Cute.
Please go.
This is what happens when you're 20 years removed from your college program.
I have 3 girls. Okay, it's because of the college program.
Well, Kim has 2. Becky, you don't have any kids, do you?
No, thank you.
No, Becky doesn't have any kids. Yeah, me. I have stepkids, but they're 20 and 14, and they spend 99.9% of their time in their room. So, so yeah, it was really. I definitely I don't remember specifics from traditions or anything like that, but what I do remember is just how thorough the Disney training was. Even to just get to the point where you were training at your specific work location. It was really thorough. The specific park training, because I ended up going through, but by the time before I stopped working for Disney, I had gone through 3 before. So I did Once Upon a Time, is that whatever it is. The Magic Kingdom one was my first program. My second one was Declamation, the Animal Kingdom one, and my third one was when I was a manager, it was On with the Show at studios. I don't know. It might have been called Lights, Camera, Action or something like that by then. Or maybe it was always On with the Show.
I'm pretty sure On with the Show.
Okay. I feel like they might have changed it at some point, but I could just be misremembering or assuming.
They do drug tests now for the attractions, so they might update it.
Which is hilarious because they definitely did not do those when I was in attractions, and probably 90% of the people I worked with wouldn't have passed one.
Nope.
Just saying.
Just saying.
I'm never working for Disney again, so I'm not afraid to talk about this shit.
Just saying. This is new. So,
But yeah, so I just I remember, honestly, I was very nervous during my training and during the testing and stuff afterwards. Of course I passed and did fine or whatever, but it was pretty nerve-wracking, and my trainer was not very nice, honestly. She'd been at Disney for a very long time. I want to say 15 or 16 years. She wasn't old or anything. She was probably younger than I am now, come to think of it. I think she was mid 30s, but she'd been at Disney for a very long time. And Pirates was it wasn't as cushy as Tower because you couldn't be mean to people. But it was a cushy ride to work at in that there weren't many positions available. You were in air conditioning or very air conditioning adjacent. And also even air conditioning adjacent, you were always in the shade under fans, all the time. It was for especially for a college program, it was a cushy job, but even just for, somebody who worked attractions hourly, as a regular employee, it was a cushy job. And yeah, it was, I think she was a little bit mad about there being college because Pirates did not have, I think the previous semester they hadn't had any, college program participants, and it was only 2 of us, and it's not like we were taking their opening shifts. God, I didn't want that shit. Give me the closing shift, please.
Exactly.
Even and we'll get into this next month when we talk more about things that changed because of September 11th and everything, but the worst closing, because I ended up because my training was delayed. What's that night in September? It's like the all night thing. Is it for the churches maybe? Or is it
with the grad nights where
or
they
grad night?
let them
No,
stay?
this was
Or is it the
definitely
gay nights.
no. This was
Pride
August.
nights?
This was like August, September. So it was after gay days. It was after grad nights.
Gay
It was
days.
like a Christian thing, and I don't remember what it was called, but I missed it.
I
Night
remember
of
it.
Joy.
Night of Joy.
Night of Joy.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Oh.
I remember I missed having to work that by like several days because I wasn't finished training. And that was like the one amazing thing about starting like 3 or 4 days late was that I did not have to worry about working all night for Night of Joy. Like, I don't know why I haven't like, of course I know why I remember that because ew, miserable. Like, so I got lucky. And I think the latest I had to close at Magic Kingdom was like maybe midnight or something, or 1 a.m. I didn't end up working. I didn't even end up working New Year's like at the end of the program because I was like super ill. But and that was because I worked Christmas and got stuck working a shift out in the rain and got sick from it for 12 hours, you know.
I'm on this. Can you just wait, please?
But yeah, so that was like so those are our, I guess, training experiences, etc. I don't know. This whole episode was literally just supposed to be focused on like getting to the college program and checking in and meeting people and training and stuff like that. Like I do remember, being done with training and being just so excited that like I could finally, like I said, start working normal hours, aka not getting up at the crack of dawn. And also because my friends, that was the one bad thing is like people like Kim, who I knew, who had started the same day I did on the college program, they were all done with their training and they were on their like normal later hours. And I was like, you guys are going to PI, but I have to get up at like 6 tomorrow morning or 5:30 or something.
PI.
Yeah.
Oh, you said PI Thursday nights at PI. Same day you got paid, the same day you had to wait on that bus. Oh, that bus. Another story. Sorry, you said PI.
I did. Did you ever go to PI, Becky? Like ever, or like did you go?
I went a couple of times, but see, my roommate had the exact opposite schedule as me. So she would be getting off, and I'd have to sleep and go to work because I had to be there. But she kept me up all night because she'd be arguing with her boyfriend every single night on the phone. Oh, it was horrible. I slept in the living room 90% of the time.
Oh my God! On those that little couch that wasn't. Was there a full size couch? Like
it was a couch.
It was a full couch, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but my roommate was so bad. She was screaming and cussing him out and crying because he had to know where she was every single minute of the day, and I'm like, oh. So
yeah, we didn't suffer through that, but like I mentioned earlier, we had a roommate who was on the phone a lot.
Yeah,
and maybe it was for some reason I thought we had dial-up internet, but no, you're right. It was just really crappy, LAN internet, but But I mean, this is pre-cell phones. Like really, like I had a cell phone, but it was like my parents were like, here is a cell phone, right? Emergencies only.
Yeah, it was $3 a minute.
Yeah, but there were like, my parents called me, and there was no texting either. My parents called me a few times and were like, Tara, stop using your cell phone, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but like, if I want to talk to you guys, if I want to like ever talk to my friends back home, I'm basically stuck using my cell phone because my roommate is on our phone like 25/8. Not even 24/7, 25/8.
Is Nicole there?
Oh my God. I don't remember what her boyfriend's name was, but that is
Sean.
Exactly what Sean. Oh.
Wow.
Listen,
that is a
the random shit that gets up in here.
And Nicole herself was very kind and very quiet and everything. Like no problem with her other than like the being on the phone with her boyfriend like all the time. but yeah, so I don't know, like I guess like looking back now, part of me regrets choosing a 2-bedroom only because I feel like I didn't get like a full experience of like the roommate situation. But the other part is like, I wouldn't have met Kim, you know what I mean? Or if I had, we wouldn't have been like at the same level or whatever. And, you know, but also, I think I only would have been able to stand that many months in a 3-bedroom if I was in that front bedroom, man.
Sharing a bathroom
with 3 other girls, especially. Oh my God. Like, and I can't even think about what it would have been like on mornings, like when you're all training and going to traditions at the same time and you're all having to like, oh my God, I can't. Cause I can't shower at night. I can't shower at night. So like I can, but I would have to still shower when I got up the next morning. So yeah.
I remember
RAs, like, did we have those? The college program had residents?
Yeah. We had, there were older ones, there were alumni. I actually had papers somewhere of ours, and I've actually met mine several times after the college program.
Oh, yeah, wait, no. Yeah, I
10-10.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, we did.
I didn't remember them from our college program because I don't think I ever actually came into contact with any on my first college program. But on my second college program, one of my close friends, her older sister, who had been a CP before, was an RA. So yeah, no, I did know they existed, but I totally forgot about it because I don't think I ever met a single one on our college program.
Ours was on our floor. We were in apartment 1012 and they were in apartment 1010. So we shared a floor, so we got to see them a lot.
Wow. Wow.
I've met one of them. He used to work at Disney till probably like 2010 or something like that. So.
But yeah, so no, I don't. And I feel like if you're a Disney college program RA, like, shouldn't you have been, I don't know, introducing yourself to other people? Like, what, isn't that like ours? Well, I don't think we had any.
Maybe the first day we met them, I feel like they lived in the back of the building.
So was there one apartment of them per building?
I think they're the top floor.
I don't know.
I don't remember. I just know they were in ours. I think they did. Ours is, I think, 10, 11, or 9, 10, 11, I think.
Is that your dog?
They had like 3 buildings to each one.
Kim's got puppy in the window. Kim's got puppy in the window. I had cat in the window earlier, and I was just trying to toss her out of the camera like constantly. She laid all across the desk at one point, and I was like, "That's fine," but then she didn't want to stay there, so it's like.
Did you hear her burp, Brian? Is that what you're asking?
I did. That's what I was asking.
Oh, she burped.
I did.
Yeah.
I was like, is that a dog burp?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Lena?
I had 3 animals in the room with me for a minute, but they just got brought out to be fed. So that's what I had instead of kids, is a whole bunch of animals. And then I moved in with somebody who had kids from a previous marriage, and now I'm here. So this is what 20 years will do to you kids who are on the college program now.
Yep. 3 kids, 3 dogs.
Oh gosh.
2 cats.
Yeah, we got 3 dogs, 2 cats, but just 2 kids, thankfully. And one of them's grown.
Throw a third in there just for the fun of it. Go ahead, mix it up.
Nah, I'm good. Listen, I was even saying I was 18 on my college program, knowing it's been 20 years. I've long been out of that. I didn't want them to begin with, but I've long been out of that realm. I mean, and which is so funny because like I had actually never really been around kids that much until the college program and working at Disney. And I actually, I being around them like a lot, just like parents, like there was actually a little girl named Tara who I met like in my first week working at Pirates, and Pirates was her favorite ride. And Tara is not a very common name. It's really not. So she was like maybe 7 or 8 years old, and they were annual pass holders. So they came like a few times a month, I think. And they always came to Pirates. And the days that they came when I wasn't working, you know, like apparently she would get super disappointed, and I would come back to work and they'd be like, oh, little Tara was here asking for you again. And it was like the cutest thing. You know, one of the things we had to train with, and granted my training was Magic Kingdom Day Parade, and I only ever worked Night Parade. I think I worked Day Parade maybe once, you know, that like actually on the schedule, but usually anytime I was working parade, it was night. So like keeping the kids who are waiting for the parade, like entertained and everything, like it was the first time I'd ever really been around a lot of children like that. So it was definitely like an eye-opening experience. Usually a good one though. I don't think I ever, the parents were the worst part, let's be real.
Yeah. Disney worked out to be a strong prophylactic for me because of the reactions of the parents into being with the kids all day and watching the dads get stressed out about the time and the lines and moms chilling them out, or vice versa. But it definitely was it was eye-opening experience. Like, man, it looks stressful sometimes. Like, you know, the magic is there, but sometimes you guys are a little, take a breath, Dad. You're going to get on the ride. It's part of the show. Okay. All right. Step forward, please. Fill in all available spaces. Thank you. Go all the way to the right.
Sorry, what were you saying, Becky? You should see the dads on what?
When Princess Fairy Tale Hall opened, I'd be in the park early because I'd have to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And they would run to the castle and run there just so they can get in line before everybody else. And the mothers would be way back in the back, just with their strollers, just walking around. Because they would get up to 4 hours just waiting for princesses. And I'm like, really? Go to Epcot. They're much shorter. There's much shorter ones.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, when we were on our college program, there was so much less of like the character experiences, really. So when there were characters, I mean, I remember being at Disney in middle school, and my aunt, you could never see Mickey unless you snagged a reservation at Chef Mickey's or you waited in line. And my aunt was obsessed with Mickey, and we waited like 3 hours in line to meet Mickey. And me, like 14-year-old me, is like, I don't give a crap. Honestly, adult me, I've never given a crap about Mickey. His voice is annoying. He's stupid, and I hate him. Okay, like. I feel like as a Disney employee, I was never allowed to say that. But now that I'm never going to work for them again.
You won't now because you just cursed the golden idol.
I couldn't anyway. Like, unless I got an office job, I could never work for Disney because I have tattoos on the back of my neck. So
no, they're a lot more friendly with tattoos now. They allow men to wear nails.
Well, do they allow visible tattoos?
Yes,
I think they allow them if they allow them if they're Disney tattoos.
No,
just any.
Any kind of family-friendly tattoos.
Family-friendly tattoo.
Woman on you, but
yeah, you can't have any symbols that represent negativity, but you can have visible tattoos now.
Yeah.
I thought it was only Disney tattoos, so it's interesting to know
that anyone can wear fingernail polish now. And makeup, anyone can.
Well, there might still be rules against that. Like I know when I was in foods, we weren't supposed to wear fingernail polish, but that's like, but that's for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that's right, for health reasons. But it's changed from that, certain genders not allowed to wear nail polish to now being able to wear nail polish is where I was going with it, right? Definitely health food codes and things of that nature. That's not
I mean, that was definitely part of our tradition stuff, was like the Disney look and everything like that.
Yes, and that's changed.
Yeah, that's changed a lot. I mean, when we were there, men couldn't have anything but a mustache, I believe.
And if
which is so weird because, like, ew, like nobody, who just has a mustache?
I remember when I first started working there, you couldn't even have that, and someone had to. The very first program, you couldn't have a mustache, and then someone argued it because Walt had the mustache, and then they said that the mustache had to be already present. It couldn't be in the growing phases.
Yeah.
So it had to be established. It had to be established or not at all. You couldn't grow a mustache while you're working for the company.
Which I mean, I guess in a way I get that because you don't know everybody's growing capabilities are different, but also like I don't know, mustaches are gross. Like just mustaches, like unless you're, in your 60s, nobody wants to see that, man. Like nobody does.
I will 100% agree with you. I will never have a mustache on this face because of that. I always felt that they make me feel a little icky, so I'm not gonna have one.
When they started the beards, the guys started taking vacations, and so they can grow their beards in.
Kim's daughters are having a fight in the background, I think. Daughters are way worse than sons. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. Well, on that note, I mean, I think we've covered everything that we wanted to cover in this particular episode. I know that next month, I'm not quite sure of the date yet, but I'm going to go ahead and guess, just based on my schedule, I'm probably looking at Saturday, September 18th. Originally, I was kind of thinking about doing it on Saturday, the 11th, but I feel like that's just, I think that's just too much because we will be talking about, our experiences with, being on the college program when September 11th happened and how things changed and everything after that. And I just feel like waiting until the actual 20-year holiday has passed is for the best.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was a big thing. It was a big thing. Made all the difference in the world, honestly, for our college program. Yeah. I think
it did change things a lot. So yeah, that's a show all into itself.
Yeah. So like, anybody have any last thoughts before I close this out? Anything else you wanted to say about your checking in, like meeting people, training experiences, anything like that?
If someone happens to be watching and they are about to go through it, take pictures of the people you're standing in line with. I know that's creepy. You'll thank me later. Totally creepy, but I just mean you'll see why. It'll play out. It's like when they start the movie at the ending and then catch you back up later. That's what you're doing. I think it's Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, that's all I have.
Just thinking about now, like the responsibility I had at 18 years old, and operating these rides. Like one of my, I mean, I'm sure this is an episode for later, but one of my coworkers got fired because we were singing Christmas carols and he wasn't in his exact spot that he should be, even though there was no one around. So like the pressure and the responsibility I had at 18 of operating these rides just blows my mind.
Yeah. I mean, at least it was 18 and up because when I worked in foods, you could be 16 working in foods and you couldn't work like the grill or the fryers, but you could, they did hire 16-year-olds. I don't know that an 18-year-old should have been operating some of these rides for sure. Like Pirates, fine, whatever, maybe, but some of these rides, maybe not. And I don't know, I don't think there was an age limit though on any of the rides. If you were 18, then you could work literally any ride. Mm-hmm. So
when I was a manager at Magic Kingdom, we had a 15-year-old that worked in food and beverage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think
as long as their parent worked in the park.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes, there was somebody, I think it was when I worked at Animal Kingdom, there was a girl I worked with who was 15 and her parents also worked in Animal Kingdom. Or one of her parents did. But yeah, so weird. I mean, that was 2002. Yeah, no, yeah, they couldn't, like I said, they couldn't work the fryers, they couldn't work ovens, it was like, why are you, okay, whatever, Disney.
You can take money, that's it. That's all you're doing is taking money.
Which is funny because like the cashier positions, both places I worked, like more so at Animal Kingdom, but when I worked at Animal Kingdom, it was like, you had to have been working at Pizza Safari for years before you could get a cashier like seat. You know what I mean? Like there were only 5 or 6 of them or something like that. And it was like, nope, you have to have seniority to work as a cashier. But yeah, Okay, well, on that note, we will be back next month. Like I said, we'll be talking about working on the college program, working at Disney over September 11th, and everything that changed, like everything that happened and everything that changed about our jobs and whatnot because of September 11th, 2001. But thank you again to Brian, Kim, and Becky for joining me tonight. You can, again, follow me across the web at A Geek Saga for updates on when you can catch the next episode in this Walt Disney World College Program 2001 20-year anniversary series. And I hope we will see you next month. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye.